Bitcoin will crash to $44,000 in 6 months, or ideally this YouTube channel. That's what I have promised to you nearly 3 months ago. At that time Bitcoin was still trading above $100,000, and since then we have crashed by around 30%, and right now I'm increasing my bets. If Bitcoin will not crash towards $44,000 within the next 4 months, I will not only delete this YouTube channel, but I will also give one of you $10,000. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Amon from Market to Paradise, and in this video I will reveal to you exactly when the war in Ukraine will end. We will take a look at some insider sell walls. I will take a look with you at the fear and greed index and what's going on with the volume and social index. We will take a look also at some technical analysis, and we will understand where Bitcoin is going to go next, together with understanding the exact price action. There is loads of stuff to discuss. Bitcoin CME futures gap right here, USDT dominance, next resistance, but we will start by looking at ultra high time frame chart of Bitcoin, aka the weekly time frame. As you can see, another weekly candle closed below the moving average orange trend line, also below our 1.272 Fibonacci retracement level at $85,000, and we have nearly touched our structural support zone right here by making a new local low at around $74,000. Before we dive deeper into this price action, let me just remind you the previous video where we have been talking about the Elliot Wave theory. We have been expecting a new impulse towards $72,000, and as you can see right now we are sitting at around $78,000, and we are, in my opinion, finishing the fourth wave exactly where I have predicted that a few weeks ago and updated you about that 2 days ago in the latest video. So as you can see right now we are turning this previous support into a resistance, and now the question is, can we start dropping from this level, or is there gonna be some kind of pump to the upside first? We will be discussing that. Let's shift our focus first back to our ultra high time frame, because it's important to understand that we are still in the first A wave of a zigzag. I believe we have not finished the A wave just yet. What I'm talking about is exactly what I have been describing to you since January 30, when I have been calling like the only YouTuber and the only team on Telegram. We have been telling you this is it, we are at the top, and loads of people disagreed with us, right? So for example, the Trevor, you remember Trevor was really confident that we are going to $160,000. Why? Because everybody told him so on social media. Everybody was extremely bullish, right? So nobody trusted us. But since then, and you can check this video, I've explained exactly the reasoning behind our decision making that we have made with ParadiseTeam. That's also the reason why with Paradise Family VIP members we have been selling everything on spot, and also all our long futures positions that we have been accumulating and taking profits right at the top, right? And since then we have started to crash below this moving average trend line that been holding the whole impulse since $19,500, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, based on the understanding of classic Elliot Wave theory, you understand that we have completed the 5 moves to the upside, and right now we are about to have a deep zigzag correction. And the deep zigzag correction, as you know from our MCP University that you can find on microtoparadise.com, is being subdivided into 3 smaller waves, and 2 of them are formed in a motive mode, the A wave and the C wave, and 1 in a corrective mode, that is the B wave. And I do believe that we are still in this A wave, and the A wave will finish at around $72,000. We will have a deep test of this level, and only after that we will start the B wave towards retesting the $91,000 and $93,000, and then we will continue towards $44,000. And I do believe that we can make it within the next 4 months. Otherwise I will delete this channel and one of you will make $10,000. From the grand supercycle perspective, what we can understand from this price action is that we are making the first wave right here that was already finished actually. Then we will start a new impulse after we finish right here at around $44,000. That will lead us towards $240,000, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be the third grand supercycle wave, and I do believe that this target should be met before the end of 2026. But hold on, how is it possible that I still believe that even though we have already touched this beautiful structural major support at around $74,000. It wasn't exactly $72,000, but it was pretty close, right? So how is it possible that I still believe that we might go lower and we are still in the A wave? Well, because I am also observing the lower time frames, and if I zoom in inside of this price section and go to our high time frame perspective, ladies and gentlemen, I can see that this impulse is not still done. Okay, this impulse is basically the final fifth wave of the zigzag A wave impulse right here, and as you know, the fifth wave of an impulse is itself a motive mode wave and subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves. And because I'm analyzing the price action closely, I can see that it's not still finished. And if you have been watching the previous video, we have been actually talking about this, haven't we? We have together, you and me, correctly analyzed this contracting triangle, and after we have started to break below it, we understood that we are now entering the new impulse formation. We knew that we have formed first wave, second wave, and that we are right now in the third wave. The fourth corrective wave will turn this moderate support into a resistance, and then we will have a fifth wave that will finish at $72,000. So where we at right now? Well, we are at the moment where we are turning the moderate support into moderate resistance. I've already changed that color into red, and I have changed the wording from support into a resistance, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, we have tested it already 2 times, as you can see, with these wicks, all right, and it's pretty strong. We are already starting to get support from this moving average trend line as well, ladies and gentlemen. And if we calculate the subwaves, 1, 2, 3 was finished right here, fourth, and I do believe that we are about to have fifth wave, and that will finish around $72,000, can wick out even towards $70,000. Okay, I told you in the previous video that I do believe that we will finish this fifth wave towards $72,000 until 11th of April. So that means we have still 3 to 4 days to go. We have been concluding that based on the dynamics that I have been explaining to you in the previous videos, and also thanks to this descending trend line. As you can see, this one already been tested because we have dropped really sharply quite quickly, and if we continue to do so, and we will really manage to dump within the next 3 to 4 days towards that $72,000, we will achieve that one more time perfectly, synergize the dump with the slope of this descending trend line, and I do believe that after that we will have the reversal towards $91,000, $93,000. So this is not enough, however, to make some conclusions, right? So we need to analyze the price action more deeply. So let's zoom in inside of the fourth wave and let's try to understand how the fifth wave is going to move. For that, we will zoom in into medium time frame, ladies and gentlemen. I've already shared with you this chart in the beginning of the video, and as you can see right now, we are perfectly on 4-hour time frame, retesting the moving average trend line, this one, together with the resistance. As you can see, we have not been able to reclaim it so far. Since yesterday, the bulls are trying very hard to reclaim it, however, they are unsuccessful. So we are following our price action quite perfectly. The third wave finished a little bit lower, as you can see, deviation below this support zone that we have been analyzing using Fibonacci retracement level 1.618, which is very important. Then we have the previous low right here. So it was a strong support. There was a slow deviation, but it never turned into a resistance. So we went above it, and right now we are finishing the fourth wave, in my opinion, right here, and we can begin in the fifth wave. That will take us towards $72,000, but we can pick out even a little bit lower at around $70,000. Okay, so that's possibility. What supports the current price action that is going to go down is bearish divergence that is being formed on our MACD indicator. As you can see, the histogram is making higher high, however the price, as you can see, is making lower high right from here. That means the volume is there, the momentum is there, but without a strong volume so far. We will be talking about what kind of volume is there and who is driving this volume in just a minute. Right now it's very important to understand that this is a hidden bearish divergence, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you are in our MCP free university that you can very easily join by taking a look at our website mycryptoparadise.com, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When the price is making lower high, but the indicator, in our case histogram of MACD, is making higher high, that means the momentum is there. So probably retail or some small players are trying to push the price up, right? However, somebody is holding the price down by distributing their coins, by creating sell limit orders, etc. etc. And if we take a look behind the scenes, we can actually see that, and I will be talking about who is creating these sell walls and how valuable they are, how much of bitcoins are actually being distributed at these sell walls. But this is just a small confirmation that really somebody is distributing on that buying liquidity, probably from retail, from the small players, right? We can also confirm the hidden bullish divergence on stochastic RSI. Again, the same thing, right? Not only we are at the overbought area, we are also making the higher high, but the price action, as you already know, is making a higher high. There is not enough power. If we take a look at the volume, ladies and gentlemen, we can actually see that on the push higher, on this small trend higher, which should be the fourth corrective wave, we can take a look at the volume, how the volume is behaving, and we can see that it's actually decreasing. So it was very obvious that we will, with the highest probability, not be able to break above this important resistance zone. And as you can see, with this new candle that is closing in just 50 seconds, we have driven the volume to the upside above this blue average trend line, unlike the previous 4 candles that during the move to the upside been below average. That means the volume was driven by some retail. Again, not a big players been accumulating, not a big players been driving this price higher. And all of this is just a confirmation that this is with the highest probability the fourth wave from our Elliot Wave count of impulse. This is an upward impulse, just turn it other way around. It works the same way. The fourth corrective wave usually is being made on a low volume and in a corrective pattern. And we will be talking about the corrective pattern right now, because I will be zooming in inside of our low time frame, and you can already see the corrective pattern we are forming right now. And yes, you are correct. This is contracting triangle. Contracting triangle is being subdivided into 5 smaller waves, A, B, C, D, E. And as you can see, we have created exactly that, A, B, C, D, E. After that, we have started to break to the downside. We have not been able to trigger even a retest of this triangle, okay, at around $82,000. Not been able to do so, ladies and gentlemen, even though it would be quite logical, because we have CME futures gap exactly at that level at $82,000 from the weekend price action. You can see we have dropped on the weekend and we have created this CME futures gap. And as you know, from 99% of cases, this CME futures gap is always getting closed. So if we will not close it right now before we go towards that $72,000, we will then close it on the way up towards $91,000, $93,000. So however, you need to understand there is still some kind of risk that we might close it. So for example, with ParadiseTeam VIPs, we have been creating a new short position right at these levels, and we have already counted with that possibility. So as a professional traders, we have positioned our stop loss far enough so it's not getting hit. So you just need to understand the context of the market, and then you can really create much better trades and adapt to that environment like water, you know? And water is the strongest element in the nature, so it's really good idea to learn from how water is actually dominating the space and do the same way and dominate this market and dominate the other traders that are losing money. By focusing on these details, adapting yourself to the market environment like water does to the environment in the nature, you can be long-term consistent profitable trader. Let's go back one more time into our low time frame chart, ladies and gentlemen, together with this contracting triangle that is breaking down right now, and we will take a look at the low time frame targets. We can see that we are also having a fractal formation because we are forming a double top Adam and Eve. As you can see right here, this is Adam, this is Eve. Together they are creating a double top formation, and something similar we had on a higher degree, right here, Eve and Adam, and that was the double top formation where after its creation we have moved to the downside. So something similar is happening on a lower degree, as you can see right here. As I said, contracting triangle already broken to the downside. However, there is still a possibility that we might revisit that $82,000 because it will be nicely playing with retesting the triangle, this ascending trend line. If I prolong the trend line right here, you can see that if we would be moving to the upside, we can retest around $82,000, $83,000 before moving down. But because we are already below that moving average trend line right here on multiple time frames, below this important resistance zone, we have this double top formation. Again, it's going to be quite difficult, okay? The same way right here as we have been then talking about the possible expanded flat right here that actually finished itself in a symmetrical triangle in the end, as I show you right here. You know that we have been expecting that something similar like here we had the expanded flat, something similar will happen right here, but in the end it finished as a contracting triangle A, B, C, D, E, and then we started to break to the downside. And why? Because again we had so many sell walls above us. Behind the scenes we have been seeing that we have also so much of a resistances. So the moving average was one, then this resistance, then the ascending trend line, right, then the Fibonacci retracement level. So it was very difficult, ladies and gentlemen, to even wick out. And I told you there is a possibility that we will just wick out, right? But we have finished the contracting triangle instead. There was no impulse that we have seen from expanded flat before, and we started to dump to the downside. And as you can see right now, we are almost below the same powers. We are below the moving average trend line, below the resistance, below the ascending trend line. So again, the wick out is possible, but it's quite less likely right now. If we will be talking about the targets on low time frame very quickly, we can see by measuring the swing low towards the swing high right here that the possible target of this breakout can be around $75,000. So that might be one low time frame support right here. I will turn this into a green color. Another one, if we take a look at our Fibonacci retracement sequence, we can actually see that some support might be at $77,000. You already know about $77,000, right? But the main one, the most important one, 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level, that is right here at around $70,000 to $71,000, ladies and gentlemen. We have also the $72,000 in between this zone, but you must understand that there is a possibility that we might go down towards $70,000, even wick out towards there, right? As I've already told you when we were looking at high time frame right here, we might wick out towards $70,000, ladies and gentlemen. You must be prepared for it. We are prepared for it in ParadiseTeam VIP, and if you have not been able to secure your seats in ParadiseTeam VIP and you are trading alone on yourself, you need to be prepared for it as well. Very quickly about the USDT dominance, you remember from the previous videos 2 days ago, I've shared with you that we are finishing the third Elliot Wave right here, and I told you we will wick out towards this resistance, as you can see on USDT dominance, as you can see towards this 6.10%, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we have went exactly towards this level. So I believe that right now we are still in the third wave. Why? Because I'm counting the subwaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe there is a possibility that the fifth wave will finish at this next resistance, 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level right here. So as you already know, if the USDT dominance is bullish, and we are bullish, we are right here above the moving average trend line, we are above this resistance and turning it by this retest into a support. We are having this bullish divergence because the price is making higher low, but the MACD indicator is making lower low. So we are bullish, right? And if the USDT index is bullish, it's automatically adding to the probabilities of bearishness in crypto markets, because we can understand that the money are flowing from crypto into stablecoins as USDT, and that's why we can see the USDT dominance rising. So that's just a confirmation, ladies and gentlemen. But as you can see, we have not done a deep retest of this zone, so there is still a possibility that if we are about to close the CME futures gap, it would nicely synergize with the USDT dominance, just wicking to retest this support right here and then continuing to the upside, and that would mean that the Bitcoin could retest that $82,000 by this wick out, retest this previous support into resistance, this ascending trend line, etc. that I have been talking about, right? So there might be a wick out, but it's not that likely right now because of the powers of that resistances I have been talking about. Very quickly, because we don't have much time left, I will just share with you the funding crates. Extremely, the accumulated funding crates that you can find on our website, okay, and you can watch it with me, are extremely positive, ladies and gentlemen. There is so much more longs still in the market than shorts position. So long squeeze more likely, okay, by looking at the accumulated funding crates. Then what we can see right here from the fear and greed index, we can see that we have been retesting that 60 points, okay, the magical 60 number that I have been updating you about in the previous videos as well, and we have not retested hit that another magical number 20, okay? As you can see, we are going down to that level, so from the fear and greed index, we are not bottomed just yet. And speaking about bottom, the volume index is not bottomed at all. We are actually topping at our magical points 80. As you can see, for example, right here in March 11th, we have been topping the volume index at 80, and once we have started moving to the downside, right here, we have been at around $83,000. Then we started to move to the downside, and bang, we have dropped towards $80,000, okay? Right here in April 4th, from $84,000, we have started to drop towards $82,000, okay? And right now we are almost at the all-time high from the previous month, ladies and gentlemen, and we are already slowing down with the volume index, considering that the social index is still very low and we are at resistance. It's just synergized with the idea that some big players are actually distributing. And speaking about the big players, I've been talking about these sell walls that have been already filled for the big players, and these sell walls I've been counting that are worth more than $50 million, ladies and gentlemen. This is worth more than $25 million. It was only partially filled, as you can see, on this week to the upside, but still it really supports the idea that some big players have been entering short positions. So it just adds up to the probabilities that we are about to start retesting that 72 and probably even $70,000. I'm recording every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, so next time I will see you on Thursday. Until then, take care, trade smart with a strategy. Definitely don't share this video with some of your enemies, okay? But if you have not completely hated this video, consider smashing the like button. You don't need to, but you can smash the like button, subscribe as well, and I will see you next time. Cheers.